it's all about my belief that we are guided by spirits, and sometimes, in the right frame of mind, the right spirits show up. In the bad frame of mind, the bad spirits show up. So it's like casino. First they lead you to winning machines, then they lead you to the losing machines, and they want to feed off that, like energy. So that comes up around casinos and addiction, things like that. It's like abuse, or things like what happened, what circuits we neurologically put in our brain through our acts of service in family and work are big. I used to work I'm a journeyman scaffolder, so I used to work at Conoco and Phillips. And at Conoco and Phillips, I had a vision of someone being buried alive. And it was like one of those like vivid daydreams, like, holy fuck, what's going on? I feel like I'm in a murder case, or like, you know what I mean? I feel like I'm a psychic, doing a cold case here. And it was like such a vivid daydream, but that was before I did my work. That was the time I was studying. I was really looking into, finding out what is, the psychic mind, what is a sense of the beautiful, blessing that we can see and feel things in the future. What is time? And I have some really weird experiences with that. So the thing is, I worked for that company a little bit, and then they wanted me to work in the processing plant, and that's where they grind up animals. Everything looks like it's rusted, but it's covered in blood. It's completely disgusting. And I had to make a choice. I had to be like, no, I'm not going to work here. I'm going to disappear. So everything looked like it rusted, covered in blood, people losing their hammers and lard, right? It's like, fuck this shit. And, you go to McDonald's, you smell like death. Everybody's like disgusted by you in the line. And it's like, people puking because they can't handle the stench of death. So that's what I avoided. It's funny and then I got brought to a Skyway mod yard, and all the crackheads left and new people were hired. So it was wonderful that I got a name hired for Ledcor. I worked for them for 10 years, and it was phenomenal. Last time I told this story, it's funny because that night I had a Ledcor vehicle right outside my job where I do readings, and I was like, oh fuck, this is like a sign. It was really something. So I want to touch on this deeper. I also want to say, the thing about the human body is we're celestial creatures. We speak angels, we speak devils, and that's all about what we take in, right? So if you're chugging back the coffee, smoking back the cigs, you're not going to be a nice person. You speak some devil shit, right? It's like, once you take away your dopamine little crutches, you turn into, maybe uptight, or, it could be high blood pressure could come up for you guys. So that's what I mean. So it's really important to, understand that we speak angels, speak devils, and our belly is the cauldron. Well, our whole body is the cauldron, right? Whether we, things can come in through our skin, our whole body breathes too. So that's fascinating, right? And most of the energy is in moving the spine. So spinal movements is huge, as well as breathing for clarity. So, it's really interesting because I believe one day ghosts and spirits will be able to testify in court. And I feel like maybe 7 years, right? Right now we're going through AI mapping animal languages and how animal communication is going to be scientific now instead of going to, an animal communicator. There are lots of them out there, but it's something that the world doesn't want to be like, hey, look at this woo-woo, right? It's like we're domesticated. We have been formatted to live in this society and think, we can't be more than ourselves just because we don't do the rituals and the practices because they're hard. They taught us to love warmth and be in a spectrum of energy that they can plug us into their buildings and their they're what they deem for our classes, right? We go to their institutions and we play their games, just like how they have war games. And it's funny because in the Crystal Ball, I seen how we're like pretty much like, they feel like they're gods, like owning a city and being like, oh, I make calls for this country, and I make, it's disgusting. It's like the most delusioned people are running the place, and I have faith in humanity to crumble and build back in a rogue style. So it's going to be interesting how the bulls and the cattle are caged, the sheep are herded, in terms of human beings in the future. But I know this, that eventually science will make spirits irrefutable, and I feel like spirits are leading us, and we all have this karmic place we need to be, and remember that it's a sense of shining light for us.